Alright, hello everybody. Today I want to make a video going over Albedo. I want to go as in-depth as we can before he's released to just talk about what he's going to be used as, what his kit looks like, how I think he should be built. Maybe talk about a weapon that's going to be amazing on him. Hint: you should have this weapon. When he's out, you should have this weapon at least. But yeah, no, I just want to go over all the information we can just to give an early impression and a good should you summon, pretty much, to Albedo. Alright, so let's go right into it. First off, let's cover his stats. Looking at his stats, his base attack is nothing special. I think it actually is a decent base attack. His base defense, though, is an important thing to note because he does have defense scaling. His base defense is the second highest in the entire game, only losing to Chi-Chi. But yeah, no, he has really high base defense, which is exciting. As long as this isn't changed when he comes to live, this should yeah, actually, let me just say that any of this information can be changed. So keep that in mind. But as long as this doesn't change, I don't think it will be. His base defense is going to be around 876. Again, second highest in the game. It's going to be really good for later on for his abilities at scale off defense. The next, he has Geo damage bonus, it looks like, as his bonus stat, or the Ascension stat. Again, a really good thing to have. Since, he's a Geo character, all of his abilities do Geo, and he is more of a sub DPS character than a support or utility character. So having the Geo damage bonus really will be useful as you build him out and as you use him in your team. Alright, cool. We also look to see that he's going to require the scrolls. Yeah, divining scrolls in Cecilia flowers? Yeah, Cecilia flowers. He'll be requiring scrolls and flowers. Hopefully, if you plan building him, you already knew that though, so you've been saving them up to make sure that you had those ready for when he is released. Alright, going into his normal attacks. First thing I want to say, his normal attack percentages really low. His normal attacks are not going to be where the damage comes from. These are probably some. I think I even looked. They're definitely the lowest longsword user or sword user. They may be some of the lowest in game in general, though. But I don't like comparing one weapon type to another because weapons have vastly different scalings for their normal attacks. But yes, he does have very low numbers when it comes to his normal attack damage. I won't actually cover much here because, other than that, there's not much to cover. However, there are videos of his normal attack string already. I think it looks really nice. I think it's a very fencing style or Dexter style fighting. It looks good, but yeah, it does not have the best scaling. And that's fine because I don't think, even if you're going to use him as your normal attacker, I don't think the normal attack is where you should be expecting that damage to come from. If we go on to his next thing, we see his solar isotoma. I'm not going to say the first word because no. Anyway, we see his first skill. And this is his bread and butter. This is what is mainly going to be used for Albedo. This is going to be always up. If he's on your team, look right here. His skill cooldown, 8 seconds. Duration, 30 seconds. This shall always be up. I'm pretty sure it goes on cooldown as soon as you put it out as well, so you will constantly being able to keep this up as much as you want. Alright, cool. Let's quickly go over what it does though. So when enemies within or Albedo creates a solar isotoma using alchemy, which deals AoE geo damage on its appearance. Alright, real simple. That's what the skill damage is. Next we have with the solar isotoma has the following properties. When enemies within the isotoma fields take damage, the solar isotoma will generate transient blossoms which deal AoE geo damage. Damage dealt scales off of Albedo's defense. Alright, that's what we see right here. Transient blossom damage. Next we have the blossoms can only be generated once every 2 seconds. That's fine. However, let me pull this up as well real quick. It does say they only can be generated every 2 seconds, but I don't think it's in this character demo. No, okay, let's not look at the demo. Let's Flush the website. Upload more. Alright, here we go. Albedo. Flush the website here. Flush it here. Alright, cool. Albedo. Solar isotoma. Yeah, actually it doesn't show it. I believe there was something that showed the fact that he hit 2 enemies in the isotoma at once and they both took damage. Let me see if I can find that. Solar isotoma. Alright, put it out. Yep, nice. There. He dives down, and a Transient Blossom hits all of them. I guess since it's AoE damage, it could have only been one Transient Blossom that triggered, and that's why you see him hitting them all. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that okay, it's each Transient Blossom though does deal AoE damage. There we go. It does say it right there. Alright, though, never mind. Ignore everything I just did. They can only be generated once every 2 seconds, but it will do AoE damage, so it will hit every character in the vicinity of where you're hitting. That scales directly off the defense, like I said. When a character is located on Solar Isotoma, as you just seen in the trailer that I pulled up, if you're located in the center of it, it'll turn into an elevator, raise you up, and let you drop. Do either plunging attacks, or if you have like Klee, you can just drop bombs from up there from a safe location. And then only one can exist at any time. Alright, cool. So, let's talk about this, because this is really what's going to make Albedo a really good character, in my opinion. Or a really good sub-DPS, in my opinion. Sadly, Albedo will never have like really good elemental reactions, because that's just not what the Geo element is about. But he will have really good, just straight Geo damage, or extra damage. Because remember, for the Solar Isotoma, this happens even if he's off the field. So what you really can do is drop this as a sub DPS. You can go into Albedo, drop this, then go to whoever your main character is, and use their main auto attacks and skills and abilities even while the Solar Isotoma is out, allowing you to generate these Transient Blossoms anyway, getting just this as a bonus damage on top of any damage you're already dealing. Additionally, since they only happen once every 2 seconds, you can have a secondary support to have someone like Faishal, someone like Xinyan, Zhang Chu. You could have just another character out or on your team to have you providing you with additional elemental reactions. That way you're not just getting crystallized, you'll also be getting an elemental reaction from your secondary, your reactionary support, and then just be getting straight damage and shield from Albedo. I think this is going to be a really good move. I think this is going to be really strong. And I think you can also build Albedo to make this even better. But let me finish going over his skills and abilities first, and then I'll talk about his build and what I'm kind of thinking where I would take the build if I had Albedo. Alright, cool. So next we have his ultimate, and it's under Albedo's command, Geo Crystal Surge Up and Burst Forth, dealing AoE Geo damage in front of him. That's cool. So it does do good AoE Geo damage. But, and then, alright, yeah, so it does big AoE Geo damage. Then if it's in the Isotoma, it does 7 Fatal Blossoms being generated. Each Fatal Blossom has okay scaling as well. But this damage does not generate Transient Blossoms. Okay, so personally I think this is just going to be like a nuke ability, but it won't be his best ability. This will just be extra damage on top, but it won't be something you're going to be getting off, or won't be the big focus of Albedo's kit. I think the very opposite of like Zhongli, where Zhongli you're constantly building up to this big burst for its CC and everything. Instead, with Albedo, you're just kind of building up damage in general, and this is just more damage on top of that. And again, that's kind of what makes me think that he is definitely a sub DPS and not a utility support, because he doesn't have any utility to support you with other than Crystallize, which again, that's not the best utility. He's really just there to help you deal a lot of damage. I think he'll do that well. Yeah, okay. So if we go over his math, it's more Divine Scrolls and then it's Ballad? Yeah, okay. Then it's Books of Ballad. Let's go over his passive talents real quick. Flash of Genius when Albedo crafts weapons. He has a weapon ascension materials. He has a 10% chance to receive double the proc. I think that's a great ability if you don't have a character. I'm not sure if any character has this other than him. Um, but yeah, if no other character has this, that's going to be an amazing ability for him to have. Like Mona, Sucrose, just having the ability to get extra of anything you're crafting is really a big boost. And, you know, it might not happen every time, but when it does happen, you'll be very happy to see it. Then next we have Calcite Might. Transient Blossoms generated by Solar Isotoma deal 25% more damage to enemies whose HP is below 50%. Again, this Transient Blossoms is not Solar Isotoma itself. That's important to note because that means, again, your defense is going to be what's most important for Albedo, not anything else. And then his final passive is using Tectonic Tide, increase the elemental mastery of nearby party members by 125 for 10 seconds. This is going to be amazing in co-op. This means that right out the gate, he's going to be a good co-op character, unlike Zhongli, who only really shines in co-op with a couple Constellations. He's just going to be able to be a co-op character by giving you increased elemental mastery every time you use your ultimate, which will give you a reason to spam the ultimate as much as you can. It does last for 10 seconds, so it will last for almost the entirety of the cooldown of this. And with you getting geo damage off every 2 seconds using the Solar Isotoma, you should be able to spam this on cooldown if you have energy recharge, which again, when I talk about a weapon that I think is going to be the best weapon in the game for him, it's going to give you energy recharge. Alright, so cool. Yeah, he's going to be a good character for co-op, for solo. I think he's just going to be good all around. Looking at what he brings already, I think he's going to be like at least A to like low S tier sub DPS, in my opinion. And I'll happily pool him to prove that if I have to. Alright, next we have his Constellations. Let's quickly go over these as well. Flower of Eden, Transient Blossoms generated by Albedo Solar Isotoma, regenerate 1.2 energy for Albedo. Yeah, okay, so remember how I said you should be able to spam Tectonic Tide off of cooldown every time to keep this up? Well, if you have him C1, you 100% will be able to spam this every time. You're going to be doing tons of geo damage, and then every time you do Transient Blossoms, you get even more energy. You'll always be able to have that ultimate up if you have him C1. Alright, let's go to C2 though. Transient Blossoms generated by Solar Isotoma grant Albedo Fatal Reckonings for 30 seconds. Each stack of Fatal Reckoning increases damage by 30% of Albedo's defense. This effect stacks up to 4 times. Unleashing Tectonic Tide consumes all stacks, increasing the damage dealt by Tectonic Tide and Fatal Blossoms based on the number of stacks consumed. So this is nutty. Like, if you want him to be a main DPS, I think this is what opens it up. Because you can build more towards that defense. You can build even harder toward your defense, while just getting crazy amount of damage from him. Because that's 30%. If I wanted to play him as a main DPS, and I had him at C2, I would not put an attack cup on him. I would put a defense, or not cup, sand on him. I would put a defense sand on him and just let this carry it completely. Alright, next we have Grace of Helios. This is just upgrading your Solar Isotoma, which is great. I feel a lot of times they put the better one last, and in my opinion, I think Solar Isotoma is the better out of the two skills. So to see it at C3 instead of C5, it makes me happy. Next we have a Descent of Divinity. You know, I'm a Zhao simp. Love Zhao. Think about Zhao all the time. This makes me want to get a C for Albedo. Seeing this, Solar Isotoma increases plunging damage by 30% for active party members. This makes me want to get a C for Albedo because this will be so good on Zhao. And so yeah, this is amazing. I just think this is a really good ability. Especially because you have your elevator. The elevator is going to take you up, you come back down, and you slam down hard. This is a really cool thing. Alright, Tide of Hadin. This is just gonna this will increase the level of your tectonic tide. I think that's really good. And then Dust of Purification. Let's see. If active party members within the AoE are protected by shield, solar isotoma generated by crystallization, specifically generated by crystallization. So again, that that's gonna be the only reaction you're getting from Geo characters. So that's nice. But yeah, if you're protected by shields created by crystallization, solar isotome will increase their damage by 17%. It doesn't say normal attack damage, it doesn't say skill damage, it doesn't say elemental damage. It says increase their damage. It does not matter what they are, what they're doing. All their damage will be increased by 17%. This includes, Albedo himself. So if you want, again, if you were building like main DPS Albedo, I think it's completely possible. But yeah, I think Albedo himself will be best played as a sub DPS. But once you have, or not once, if you ever had any all of his constellations, I think you could completely play him as a main DPS character. All right, now that we covered everything about Albedo, let me quickly talk about some weapons I think are going to be extremely good on him. First off, the best weapon I think on him will be the Festering Desire, his event weapon. I think this by far will be better than any other weapon, specifically for its ability. Increase elemental skill damage by 16% and elemental skill crit rate by 6%. I don't know if we're going to be able to increase its refinement. I know there's been some talk about the fact that throughout the event, you might be able to get Refined 5. If you are, this weapon will be nuts. Completely next level. If you're not, even with the elemental skill damage increased by 16%, that includes his Transient Blossoms. That includes this. So every time he has a Transient Blossom go off, which is where most of his damage is going to be coming from anyway, this that'll increase the damage. So I think Festering Desire is going to be amazing on him. Gives you that energy recharge. With that substat, you will never have to worry about having this off of cooldown. I mean, regenerating energy off of cooldown, because you will you'll have so much energy recharge. You'll easily be able to keep this up. And then if you can keep this up, that means you also can keep this up, which is just more and more benefit for your team. Yeah, that's the main thing I want to touch on. That I just think the best sword on him is going to be easily the Festering Desire. Outside of that, let's actually quickly go over artifacts, because there's a couple sets I think, or there's one set that I think is going to be the best for him. That's the Archaic Petra. The Archaic Petra at 2-piece at 15% Geo bonus damage. That's increasing all of the good stuff about Albedo even further. Then that 4-piece is upon obtaining an elemental shard created through crystallization, all party members gain a 35% damage bonus from that particular element's damage. I think this is alright. If you want to run 2-piece Archaic Petra and then 2-piece of something else, I would understand that, because yeah, it's not actually the best 4-piece, unless you're micromanaging it, ensuring that you're picking up a right elemental shard for the right crystallization reaction. But if you don't want to have to micromanage this every time, because if you pick up any other one, you're going to replace your damage buff. So if you don't want to micromanage this, I completely would understand that, especially because if you're playing a main DPS Albedo, this is not going to really help him unless you're fighting the Geo, like the hedgehogs, the little Sonics. Unless you're fighting Sonic, this will never really help Albedo himself. So, but I still think that 2-piece effect is going to be so important to have on him, and that I would go for that for sure, no matter if I was playing him main DPS or sub DPS. For a sub DPS character, other things that will be good on him are elemental burst damage, just to increase the damage of obviously his burst. Main DPS, a gladiator actually would be okay. Again, attack's not going to be your biggest stat that you're worrying about. Your defense really will be. Another good sub DPS is going to be Wanderer's Troop for a 2-piece set to give you that extra elemental mastery damage. But I think that's it. I don't think there's any other set that's gonna be like really great on him. Like if you want to make his shield better from crystallization, you could do the 2-piece or Chasing Bolide alongside the 2-piece Archaic Petra. But yeah, that's about it. I sadly don't think there's any other 2-piece set that's really good on him. So some cases you might just go for the 4-piece Petra anyway. But again, there are the Noble Leaf is decent, and the Wanderer's Troop are decent for sub DPS, and then the Gladiator's Finale for main DPS. Alright, but that's it. That's all I want to cover. I think he's going to be a really good sub DPS character, and with Constellations, I think he could easily be a main DPS who could pump out a ton of damage, who's going to be doing tons of Geo damage. I know Geo doesn't have the best reaction, but the fact that all you have to do is build defense on him means that means a lot. Like you could focus defense over everything. Like in my substats, if I have Albedo and I want a sub DPS and I'm gonna be using him as a sub DPS, I will be building out that defense like crazy. I would focus that over attack. That would be my #1 priority because that's what's gonna give me everything I want out of Albedo. Because all I want him for is his transient blossom damage. Alright, but that's been everything. So if you like the video, if you like anything that I said, if you just want to follow the content, please like the video, subscribe to my channel as I have plenty more Genshin Impact content on the way. And I really want to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year, so help make that happen for me. Thank you. And, have a good day.